Chapter 3, FYI writing versus persuasive writing. If you haven't experienced this yet, many people write emails where they hope to receive some type of substantive reply, and it doesn't happen. Either there's no reply, or, at best, the reply is benign. I need to share this with you because this used to be one of my main problems when I'd send business emails in the past, until I figured out what I was doing wrong. Continuing with the theme that business people are busy, when you send emails that you want some type of meaningful reply to, make sure you don't send them in an FYI tone. Now sure, there are some emails that you'll send that are truly an FYI. Maybe it's some interesting business article you read and want to pass along. But if you're looking for a reply, make sure in some way you ask for one. Typically, when you ask for some type of reply, you're most likely being persuasive, or you should be persuasive in some way. In persuasive writing, there needs to be some type of, quote, call to action, as I always like to say. Please don't assume that persuasion is essentially offering your opinions. Some people have some trouble understanding the difference between opinions and persuasion. They're related for sure, but are different things. Sometimes just a subtle difference to the untrained eye, but a difference for sure. And this definitely has a direct bearing on whether people see your business emails as an FYI or if they'll be propelled to do something. Opinions are statements that you hold strong or even true, and they are backed up by a range of facts and also possibly emotions, and that's fine. The problem is that sometimes even people with a good amount of experience put too much emphasis on their opinion as their persuasion strategy. When you're either the direct recipient of this or on an email as a CC, believe me, you'll see their email come across in a little bit of an unprofessional and, quote, too emotional way. Persuasion is a different mechanism. While you may use, of course, your opinions and perspective in persuasive writing, please remember the difference is that in persuasive business writing, you're asking someone to do something, and that something that you want them to do helps them and or the company, etc., in some way. You want something to happen. Example, here's an opinion. The XYZ legislation will officially become law starting on Feb 1. It's the first time we've had real reform in this area. It can change the way we look at our business. In the above, there are facts and also some opinion. Aside from that, where is the persuasion? I don't see it. In business writing, we can't hope that the above is enough for the reader to do something. We need to actively do, not passively wait. Let's look at the example again, a little differently. The XYZ legislation will officially become law starting on Feb 1. It's the first time we've had real reform in this area. We have an opportunity to create a new set of competitive advantages that we need to implement over the next 6 months in order to take advantage of the new laws and mitigate direct competition. Over lunch sometime this week, I'd like to present our plan of action for the next 3 months. I hope that in the above, you see this as more persuasive. I've added what I think is important in bold. When you're writing anything in your business life that you want a response to, make sure that you are explicit about it with some type of call to action. Fancy words. I figured I'd throw this into this chapter not to use fancy words. If you've read my book on presentation skills, this was in there too. Too many young people think fancy words are good to use. They're not. They're pretentious. Use conversational language whenever you can. For example, instead of saying something like, one must consider the ramifications of, try something like, this is important because. This is a better way of not only being more, quote, real, but also less distant. I'd also recommend, as appropriate, not to use $50 words when a $5 word will do just fine. I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's true. I'm not suggesting lowering the caliber of your vocabulary. What I'm saying is, don't use a steak knife to cut butter. Why use nefarious if evil will do just fine? Why say ascertain if figure out works just as effectively? Actually, The word evil, depending on your topic, may be a more descriptive word and better convey your meaning anyway. I hate to do this, but I'm going to reference politicians. In general, voters resonate more with candidates who use, quote, plain English. Use fancy words when it's called for. In most cases, though, don't overdo it.